It's 5 p.m. Thursday, June 25th, 2026. And the world is still reeling from the major double earthquakes that happened in Venezuela, in Japan, in California, in Indonesia, and Papua New Guinea, and more. There's been just earthquake after earthquake, and there's going to be more. There's going to be more, they're going to be more intense. I'm feeling that they're going to be quite a bit more intense than what we're seeing now. We haven't seen anything yet. And this has been happening long enough for us to at least begin to see the pattern underneath all of this. It's all connected. I'm seeing it. I started receiving a vision of it. A very clear vision of how this is all connected here. And the vision draws a parallel to our bodies. How our gut and our brain are connected. This is something that has been known about our bodies for quite some time. But over the recent years, there's been even more research about the gut and the brain connection. The brain doesn't just process information on its own. It also communicates with what's going on in the gut. When we take care of our gut and we have a healthy gut biome, meaning that there's more of the good bacteria in our gut than there are the bad bacteria. There's so many things that happen when the gut biome is out of balance. Our bodies and bacteria have a symbiotic relationship. They can peacefully live inside the body, and they help us, and we help them, as long as we eat responsibly and take care of our bodies. Our relationship with the earth is the same way. Just like we have a gut-brain axis, where the foods that we eat introduce bacteria into our system that goes down into our gut, and as the food is processed, the bacteria that are released, depending on what we ate, can either keep good balance between the good bacteria and bad bacteria, and keep things healthy down there. And then we have healthy brain function as it goes up the gut-brain axis to the brain. Or if we're not eating responsibly and not taking care of ourselves emotionally as well, all of those different things, it could cause little perforations in the gut that allow bits of unprocessed food to slip through those little holes and be recognized by the body as foreign bodies and trigger autoimmune responses. Or the bad bacteria could travel up the gut-brain axis and have the body respond by producing bad hormones. There's all sorts of bad things that can happen. Heart attack, cancer, inflammation, chronic pain, schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, and not to mention the addiction that comes from the gluten consumption as it breaks down into these morphine-like components. So, just like we have that going on with our bodies, the earth, the whole earth system, the crust, the oceans, underneath the crust, the mantle, the core, everything about the earth. The top of the earth, and then all of the plumbing underneath, all those systems. And I'm also talking about the water cycle. How the water that's on top of the crust, and also as water rains back down from the heavens and is absorbed into the crust and filtered through all those layers to make it suitable for drinking again, so that the plants and animals on the crust can consume it. The way that it was shown to me that made it much easier is that everything that lives on or above the crust would be like the brain, and everything under the crust that happens, all the plumbing under the ground, would be like the gut. Everything that lives on the crust and above the crust, and everything that lives beneath the crust, all the plumbing, all together is one organism. We, as human beings, we are not separate from the earth. The earth is not separate from us. Just like we have our brain and our gut, and all together with all the organs in our body make up one organism. It's very much like a Russian nesting doll set, how each doll nests inside the other. So just like I just described the relationship between the brain and the gut, and how all of our organs work together to create our entire organism, the relationship between everything that lives above the ground, everything, the plants and the animals, the insects, the bacteria, everything above the ground and on the ground is not separate from everything that's under the ground. The entire earth is one organism. When we don't take care of the earth and things get out of balance, the water cycle gets out of balance, even when we don't treat each other right. The earth takes note of that. The earth feels that. It interferes with the inner workings, the gut of the earth. When we don't get along up here, when we feel emotional pain up here that we inflict on each other or even on ourselves in myriad ways, the earth feels it all the way to the core. And it remembers it. That information stores. The earth is also in a relationship with the sun the same way. When the earth is in pain, the sun feels it and the sun communicates back. We are not connecting the dots here. The reason these things are happening on the earth right now is because we are not taking care of each other. And we're not realizing that we're not separate here on this earth. We and the plants and the insects and the bacteria, all of us on the crust of this earth, are not separate from what goes on underneath the earth. We're not separate from what's underneath the earth. The magma that ends up breaking through the crust and flowing along and destroying homes. When the fault lines start slipping, when the earth starts to rumble and the weather starts to get aggravated and severe, there's a reason for that. It's connected. When the people on a certain piece of land are feeling oppression or pain, when pain is afflicted on people or oppression is afflicted on a group of people that live on a piece of the earth, the ground around them and the heaven above them is feeling it too. It's all connected. There are certain people on this planet right now that have this information. It shouldn't be privileged information. Everyone should have access to this information. But They know that information is power. And they know that if they oppress a people systematically, that their earth is going to respond with a systematic grieving process. So the oppression is going on somewhat in secret. And it makes it much easier for them to do it when they keep it from everyone else, that there's a connection between what happens to the people that live above the crust and everything that happens underneath. So when they oppress those people long enough and the ground starts to shake and rumble, and it looks like the ground is taking its fury out on the people that live above, but no, it's just the gut. It's the gut has had enough when you've eaten something that doesn't agree with you, when you've been under stress for so long without an outlet, or you're breathing in pollution and your lungs just can't take it, or your heart just can't take it, or your mind just can't take it. Things break when they're under stress long enough without a proper outlet, without a way to transmute that pain into power or something beautiful and constructive. The earth is not taking its fury out on the people that live above. The earth is responding just like the gut responds when you eat something that's not good for you long enough. The earth feels the same way you feel when you've been betrayed over and over again by somebody that you trusted, by somebody that you thought loved you too. If you're holding back essential information about how things really work, yes, Jehovah did create the heavens and the earth, and he created them with these systems so that the earth had the mechanisms to get rid of the viruses, just like we do in our bodies. But when they hoard the information and then do things to make sure that you never get it, it makes it to where they can play the system and have you blaming God for what happens when they abuse people and places on the planet that they pick and choose to abuse based on certain characteristics. Look around at all the places where these things are happening. Indonesia, Philippines, China, Venezuela, Hawaii. What do you notice? And what happens next? What has always happened? After the storms, after the earthquakes, the volcanoes, landslides, flash floods, the same ones that were responsible for secretly oppressing the people, making it really hard for them and causing them pain or trafficking them, and then ridiculing them for being third world countries, looking down on them and making it hard for them to escape to a better life. What happens after these natural disasters wreak havoc on their land and they are helpless? Oh, that's when they come in and take advantage of the situation. There's so many people displaced now. That makes it much easier to do what they did in the first place to oppress them and have the earth grieving. And that's how the cycle continues. It continues. And now that they see that time is up and God is holding them accountable for this system of exploitation and having the earth respond, and then they sweep in and exploit some more and having the earth respond, it's not going to happen anymore. The reset is happening. And the reason why it's so blatant now is because they're addicted to it. They're addicted to the cruelty. And it's not going to stop until God makes it stop. And God's about to make it stop. Just when you think that it can't get any worse, it's going to be over. And that's how it's all connected.